Good morning. This is Maria Quattrone, and I am here this morning. I am so excited to have Adriana Monique Alvarez as my guest on Fearless Female Leaders multi-author book. Welcome, Adriana.
Hi, thank you, Maria. It's great to be here.
I'm excited. So, Adriana is the founder of AMA Publishing, and she helps entrepreneurs, coaches, high ticket coaches, business owners, and leaders to grow their audience and revenue through becoming a best-selling author. So welcome, Adriana. I'm so excited to talk to you today about your journey and how did you first question I want to ask, how did you get into publishing?
I got into publishing because my clients kept pushing all their book projects on me, and I kept telling them, I don't do this. We don't do this, And they were like, but it's so overwhelming and it's so hard to figure out. And they knew that they didn't want to go the traditional route. And so after a while, it finally dawned on me, I should just give them what they want. I should create solutions. And so that's what we did. My husband and I, we've been in business together since 2013. And so we just were working with people as they came to us. And then we got more streamlined, more strategic. I then moved into, I offered a course teaching our clients how to write for publications, because at that time I was writing for tons of publications every single week. I was writing for Forbes, Huffington Post, International Living, Elephant Journal. There was a magazine in Australia I'm going blank on. And then I taught them how to write an ebook. And then we decided, hey, let's build out an entire publishing division of our company. And it took off.
And you haven't looked back.
Haven't looked back.
So today we sit in August of 2022. You are, 2013. So almost a decade in this business. And you started with helping people write their solo book or the multi-author book, or how did that all come about with the multi-author?
The multi-author, really what came to me is that what I noticed when we worked with clients that had written their own book, it was one of the hardest things I'd ever seen anyone do. It takes an insane level of discipline. Yes. It's a long journey for most people. And I thought, you know what, most of my clients, they're never going to, first of all, they're not going to believe in themselves enough to do it, right? Because that's the first thing. You have to believe that you have something to say, that someone wants to hear it. It's all the internal mental stuff. And then you have to have the time, the dedication, the discipline. You have to have a pretty hefty budget to write a solo book. You have to have this long-term vision. And I said, that's not most people. It's not. I mean, it's very few people. And so I thought, let's make it easy. I like to take things and make it easier. And so I thought, I know my clients. They're just like me. They were mothers. We were traveling full time with our two little boys, running a business, doing all the things. And so I said, can you write a 3,000 word chapter? And that is when it took off. I sold out our first multi-author book off of one social media post. And I said, just write a 3,000 word chapter and we're in business. And so that's what I found was the secret to getting people to tell their story is to chunk it down.
To chunk it down to one chapter, right? It is daunting thinking about writing an entire book.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote in my journal or my business book I have of things I'm going to do this year. And it was January 2022. And I write a book. And I literally wrote it and went, how the heck is that going to happen? How am I going to write a book? And I looked at it and I stared at it. And then few months later, voila, I met Adriana. And so I think when we put things out there in the universe, Adriana, that we attract, we find the way through putting it out. It finds us.
Yes.
Right. I know that you believe you to your core of how it works with the universe and putting, and putting all that great positive energy out there. Otherwise we can get sucked in.
Well, and on the other side of that, so you wrote that down, you put that out last fall. So one of my favorite things to do when I've never done something and I don't think I know how to do it, and I'm not too worried about the details. I put out, so I say I put out into the universe this idea, right? So I planted a seed and said, I want to have other people lead multi-author books. And what do you know? In less than a year, 10 people came to us, did it. You know, you're one of them. And every single day now I get approached by people who are like, hey, I have this idea. I don't know if you've ever done it, what you think about it, but I want to lead a multi-author book, but I don't want to learn the publishing. Could we do something here? And I'm like, yeah, I think we could do something here. So it is true. There's so much power in just putting it out there, you know, speaking it, writing it, holding it, and then letting it come together, taking steps as they're presented.
One's foot in front of the other, one day at a time. So what would you say to somebody who's like hesitant to tell their story? They want to, but they're afraid they might be judged.
Yeah.
I know this comes up a lot, I would imagine.
Oh yeah. It's like, it's so common. So that's the first thing I want to say is like, this is not unique to you, right? Your family issues, where you come from, jealous colleagues, you know, your sister-in-law that's going to see it, your mother that's going to be mad about the story you told, like that's everybody. It's not just you, Becky, right? Every single person is concerned about the same things. And I get it. I come from a small town. I was raised in a fishbowl. You know, my parents hid their success for years because of jealous everybody. I get what it means to hide out and not shine too bright. And I totally know what it means to be a people pleaser, to backbend and to not rock the boat and to be who people want you to be. And what I learned is that is not my favorite way to live. And I can guarantee you, for the person that's in that battle, they don't want to live that way. They actually are not okay living their life, getting to the end and realizing I let hypothetical, because it is hypothetical, right? Hypothetical challenges, threats, criticism dictate my entire life and who I could have been and what I could have experienced. And so what I say to those people is, listen, I get it, right? That's what we all battle. But at the end of the day, what kind of life do you want to lead? Like, your kids are watching. What gift are you going to deposit on this earth while you're here? And I hope to God you do not get held back by, you know, Sally Sue's image of you, because at the end of the day, that's not why you're here. That's not why you're here. So dig deep, remember who you are, and be brave.
So fearless female leaders came up with that, their untold story revealed, because so many of us, you know, we have that fear, but the fearless part comes into, because I have people say, well, I don't feel fearless. I'm like, the heck if you're not, girl.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, here, let's talk about that for a second, because I find this with women, you know, we're usually not raised to be super confident, or, you know, there's like a lot of be the nice girl, be humble, like don't think too much of yourself. Who do you think you are? And then we have adult women and we're like, hey, you know what? You're incredible. Share your story in this fearless female leaders. Oh, I'm not really fearless. The fuck you aren't, right? Like, I just can't handle the humility that is like placed on women. And then we can't even recognize who we are. We can't recognize what we've come through, the challenges we've overcome. You know, I can guarantee you, we could line up women for all of time and they have been fearless a dozen times in their life. And it's time we pause and acknowledge that and stop acting like we're not amazing, because we are.
Yes, we are amazing. It's all about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Right.
Yes.
And I have people ask me, well, what story should I tell? I said, that's the beauty of it. Whichever story you would like to reveal. And there's so many, right? Like, we all have so many different stories, different parts of our lives, whether it's, you know, the childhood or college life or something that pivotal that happened. Like for me, that was when I was literally fired from my job, that I was a huge producer in a real estate company, and what the damage that happened and how I walked through it and how I've been able to, you know, really build something from that. So it'll be interesting to tell it.
Yeah, I find that, once we say yes, once we commit and make a decision, the rest comes together. The story will reveal itself. You'll know exactly what you're going to talk about. I have found that it doesn't work well when I'm like, well, once I figure out the story I'm going to tell, then I'll say yes. No, it's like, don't get it twisted, right? Turn it around, say yes, and trust that you'll know what to write. It might even come to you, when you decide to take that time to write. I just wrote for a book, and I thought I was going to write about one thing, and I wrote about something completely different. And that's the thing with inspiration and guidance, right? You just got, it's going to come to you. You got to trust that.
I think it's also like what's happening right then, right there at this time in your life. And I could say today, this is what I'm going to talk about. But when it does get written, say it's 30 days from now, whatever, I may have a completely different thing that I want to reveal. So it doesn't matter. I think the reason why I wanted to do the book, Adriana, is because I wanted to show other women that it's possible. And I want to leave a legacy, and I want to do my own solo book someday. So I thought this would be a great stepping stone. Plus, now we've taken this book and we've created this mastermind of women for the next year. We're going to launch it as soon as when the book sold out. It's going to launch. So it'll be launched within the next 30-ish days or so. And we're going to have that for the entire year. So what better way to network and mastermind with 26 ultra successful women all over the country or globe. Who knows? Maybe they'll be from Australia. I know you have a lot of Australian clients.
Yes.
But I think there's power in a community.
There's so much power. I was facilitating a referral circle this week, and I told them this is really the key to the 20s. Like, hear me and hear me well, is do not go off on your own. Do not be the lone wolf. You have to figure out how to literally bring collaboration, networking, all of this interconnectedness into your life and business. Weave it into the fabric of who you are. That is what's going to help us go further than we could ever go alone. This is a decade where I feel like the most incredible ideas, advances, innovations are going to happen. And so lean into a group, lean into people who are like, you know what? I know I'm here for big things, and I know I'm not here to do it alone. Like, take advantage of circles like that, because there's so much support in it. I'm in circles like that. This week alone, I received so many referrals. I received support, people emailing their list about something I have going on, giving me ideas. Right after this call, a guy offered to give me just some tips on something I have going on. It's like, it's invaluable.
It is invaluable. It's interesting because I think back to when I started in my career and actually how I got into, not even in real estate, but before real estate. And it was because I did an internship in college that I was able to land this great job before I was even out of college. I started like 2 days after, graduation. And it was because of the connections that I made. And literally, if I didn't have that internship, I never would have had that first job. And if I didn't have that first, let's say, career, if I didn't have that first career in advertising, I probably wouldn't be in the real estate today. I don't know that I would be. I don't know how that would have unfolded. So like our journey, it's all supposed to be like, and sometimes it's surprising and we don't know how it's going to lead us. Like somebody would have said a year ago to me, August 19, 2021, that I would be co-producing a book with Adriana Monique Alvarez, I would have been like, it wasn't even on the radar.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was and I didn't know. Or maybe it's all, and I think too, like all of the things that happen in our life and not to us, for us, or through us, right, bring us to the next thing. It's an evolution.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's an evolution. So how many authors have you published at this point in the last decade?
We didn't start our publishing division until 2019. And so since then, we've worked with about 1,000 authors.
1,000 authors. That's amazing. And, Adriana, what has the book done for most of these individuals?
You know, the thing that I noticed, the number one thing it does is people change the way they see themselves. And once we change the way we see ourselves, it changes the way others see us. And so there's this elevation that happens. And it's kind of goes back to what we were saying before. When we can recognize who we are and our gifts and our capacity, we present ourselves, we show up in the world differently. So then what naturally happens? We will network. We will show up to the table and act like we belong there. We will raise our prices. We will end up working with people who have a higher income level. You know, we'll say yes to opportunities that we would have been intimidated by before. And so I find it's this whole domino effect. Once we can see ourselves as we really are, we've had clients, I mean, all kinds of collaborations have come out of projects. Like, I can think of people that started working together and collaborating together because they were in a book together. I remember the first collaboration book I was in, I made $86,000 on the back end of that book launch. And that's when my eyes were really open to, oh, this is what's possible.
So what do you mean? What do you mean by that? $86,000 in revenue on the back of the book launch. What? Explain
Yes.
that.
Okay, so I was in somebody else's collaboration book, and I just said yes because I respected her and she had asked me to be in it. And so we launched the book, we hit #1 on multiple lists. And so, of course, I'm posting all over social media, like, you know, I'm an international best-selling author. I told my story in this book. And what I decided to do was to promote one of my services right after, like the day after we hit the bestseller list. And everybody was watching and excited and celebrating. And so for 3 weeks, I promoted this one offer, and I sent, you know, to all the people who bought the book, I invited them in to take me up on this offer. I want to say, I think 68 people bought the offer. And then that group, I just listened to what else they wanted, and I offered them another way to work with me. And about 28 said yes to that. And then the last thing I offered those 28 people was a chance to work with me privately. And 3 said yes to that. And so the revenue that was generated from that was $86,000. And really what I saw was, you know, most of the time, the reason we don't have what we want is because we're not willing to talk about it until we get it. We're not willing to talk to enough people, right? It's like, oh, I don't want to bug people. I don't want to see yada, yada. And I just got on the rooftop and I was just like, this is who I am. This is what I've got going on. This is why you want to be a part of it. And I didn't stop talking until I got, you know, exactly who I wanted to work with. And I find that the back end of a book is the best time to promote something, to like use that momentum on whatever it is that you want to do. You know, however you work with people, whatever your business is, it's a great time to just be bold and to dive in.
That makes a lot of sense. So that was super successful. So that was really eye-opening.
Oh yes, it was. And I find, you know, like it never stops. Like I find if people are willing to do it, they, you know, they get to experience the same.
What do you think the biggest struggle is for people outside of getting out of their own way in order to get this done?
Wait a second. There's really nothing else except for getting out of our own way, right? I was thinking about this morning. I'm always fascinated between the people who are highly successful and the people who aren't. The people who can easily receive money and the people who can't. And it really is always this internal world, you know? And the reason why is because my internal world determines how I behave in the world. It's all of the actions, the words, the conversations, all of that is determined by what's going on inside of me. And so the reason why the external and the results are so dramatically different with people is because the internal world is different. And so this is why I tell people, if you want a different life, if you want different results, if you want to have a different amount of money in your bank account, here's the good news and the bad news. You're the problem and you're the solution, right? Like, listen to what you tell yourself all day long. I mean, there's a clue in that. Yeah. I remember the day that I became my biggest cheerleader. I mean, all day long, I tell myself how amazing I am, how this is a great idea. Go for it. Of course, they're going to say yes. Why wouldn't they want to work with you? And most people, they're on the other end of that spectrum. It all ends and begins right here.
It all begins in the heart.
Yep.
And letting people see that and letting it shine through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people struggle with, even though like that imposter syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even the most successful, I know some women that are running, gosh, almost $1 billion real estate companies, big teams, and they still have imposter syndrome. And I won't say that I don't either. I'm not disclosing myself, but it's amazing because we've done so much and done so much internal work and still continue, right? I still continue to do that. And yet we still have fear, but we do it anyway. And some days it's easier than other days. And I say to my team, to the folks in my organization, I said, you know what, yesterday, it doesn't matter anymore. All you can do is recommit today. And if you're willing to recommit today to whatever it is that you want in your life, then it's all good. Because you have today to do it. Well, we only have today. Tomorrow's not promised, and yesterday's gone forever. So
it's so true. What are we going to do with this day? And I think that's really the secret, right? Because it's so easy to live in the future. It's so easy. You have all these plans and you have all these ideas, but that future leaning living, I find is what leaves us in the same place. It's almost like a loop. And that's exactly how I live. It's like, I've got today. What am I going to do with it? If this is the last day I've got, am I happy with what I'm doing? Am I happy with how I spent it? And am I living well today?
Yes. Am I living my best life?
Yeah.
Right.
If every day you're living your best life, guess what? You have an amazing life. And it's all those qualifications we put on stuff. Well, I can't really live my best life until I lose 30 pounds, until I meet the love of my life, until I make more money, until more people think I'm amazing, until whatever, right? And it's like, no, that's actually how all of the things we desire in life can't help but meet us, because we're absolutely grabbing a hold of today and we're bringing our best to it.
Yeah, we have to take a hold of where we are. And I think like acknowledging, right, being self-aware and saying, no, that wasn't good, but okay,
Yep.
let's put one foot in front of the other and let's keep going.
It's true. It like, I used to have like a bad day that turned into like a bad weekend that turned into a bad week, and what I realized is that if I can catch it and go, oh, you know what? I don't like how that went, or I don't like how I responded, or I don't like whatever happened. And I can just go, okay, I'm going to process this and look at this right now, because it doesn't have to take over the day or the week or the month or the year. It completely changed my life, because I realized like, I give myself a bad hour, like go throw your fit, go be mad, go be frustrated, go be sad, disappointed, whatever. And then look at how you want to be now, like reset yourself. Yeah.
Look at how you want to be. One of the things I've heard, Adriana, is when I've asked, several different fearless female leaders to be in the book. And one of the things I heard was, now's not a good time.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on this, Maria. I'm about to step on a soapbox. What the fuck is a good time? That's what I want to know, right?
Well,
now is the best time. Now is the best time. So are we referring to the economy, the world? Are we talking about, like, what are we talking about, right?
Well, a lot of times I hear economy, and then I also hear just personally, so many things going on. I feel like a lot of people are overwhelmed. In my industry, real estate is kind of messed up right now, but I'm excited about that, because here's what I go, great. Things aren't selling in 5 minutes. That's a terrible market to be in when things sell in 5 minutes.
Right.
It's bad for everybody involved, except for maybe, just maybe the seller. Outside of that, everybody else, it's a nightmare. So I'm
Right.
happy that nightmare is over. And I look at it and like, wow, this is an amazing time because this is when we
It
really
is.
can build our market share.
Here's the real thing. Okay, so let's translate. When people say now is not a good time, what they're really telling you is everything outside of me determines my life. Everything outside of me determines my life. And so when people get caught up in the economy, I go, oh, well, there's a person who actually doesn't believe that they create their own reality. They don't. They think the economy, politicians, stock markets, banks, real estate, they think all of that creates their life. And that's a scary place to live. I mean, if I was believing that, I mean, this is a time where you're going to get flipped for loops 10 times a day, right? You're going to be so unstable. You're going to be so stressed out. You will be absolutely overwhelmed. But the minute you go, there's people who thrived in every economy. There's people who made more money than they ever had in crazy economies and down economies and the Great Depression, everything you can imagine, right? And that's one of the things I keep in mind. In every challenge, there are people who rise to the occasion and they literally create their best life. And then there's people who believe I'm sunk, and so that they are. They literally fall off the face of the earth. They lose their business. They lose their whole livelihood. They lose their position, their identity, and they never recover from it. That's true. That happens. And that happens when we don't believe we hold the power. And so that's really what it comes down to. Who's in control? Who's running the day? You know, if you're overwhelmed because you got too much going on in your life, well, baby doll, you're the one who said yes to it all, right? Go say no to a few things. Go get your priorities straight. Go step away for 24 hours and turn everything off and remember what kind of life you want to lead, what kind of legacy you want to leave. That's what I do. I literally take myself in the woods for 3 days, no cell service, no Wi-Fi, nothing. And I go, okay, get your head straight. Get your priorities straight. And I'll come back and I'll tell people, you know, I don't want to do that. I'll cancel calls. I'll do all the things. I'll reassess and I'll readjust. Because guess what? Now is the best time. It's the best time to be fully self-expressed. It's the best time to know who you are and what you're here to do. And it's the best time to join forces with other people who are on that same wavelength.
100%. I think now more than ever, I said that you need that collaboration and that support, right? And then all that comes with that. And gosh, there could be like new business ideas that come out of that and all kinds of wonderful things. So it's just not being afraid to say yes and tell the story. What does that do when from a standpoint, from a business standpoint? Now I know that you've made a lot of revenue on the back end of the book, but what can other people expect, you know, to do as they utilizing the book for the business?
You know, one of the things that we know for sure that people connect with us for a reason. You know, if I'm wanting to buy a house, I have a lot of choices. Who am I going to go with? A person that I know, I like, I connect with, we have something in common. I like their personality. I like their way of doing things, right? How do we figure that out? How does that happen? Well, it's easiest when that person shares who they are, right? So this is why social media is such a phenomenon. This is why telling your story in every platform, every form that you can is so important. Because you can talk all day and you can be a professional and you can know what you're doing in terms of like, oh, you know, I'm going to help you through this process and make sure you get like the lowest interest rate and connect you with the right inspector. But at the end of the day, I don't know if I want to go on this journey with you or not. And by telling your story, you allow people to see who you really are, who they're going to go on the journey with. And that's why I love storytelling. This isn't just about like selling your wares and presenting yourself like everyone else. What's unique to you? Tell me your story, right? I always say like this is true 100% of the time. When we were traveling full time, our boys were babies when we first left the US. And I would go live every single day. And I would just share part of our adventure and what we were doing. And like, I'm not even kidding you, like 80% of our clients were women who had children about the same age. A ton of them had babies back to back like I did. I had 2 babies in 12 months. And a ton of them were traveling full time or wanted to. That was because I was telling my story. So I was pulling in the people who had similar values, who were in a similar place of life. And so what I say is, the more you can tell your story, the more people have the ability to connect with you. And then what happens when people know you and connect with you, then they can also refer you more easily, right? So what I love about when people tell their story, someone's going to read the book and be like, hey, you got to check out Christy on page 32. Like, her story is so much like yours. I think you guys would totally like, you got to go check her out. You got to go stalk her. And that's why storytelling is so powerful in business building. If you've got all the walls up and you've got that perfect veneer of business and you're just talking numbers and you're just talking markets and all of that, and you don't let anyone in and see who you are, you're missing a huge portion of what you could do.
So true. That's so true. So I have this question I've been thinking about, wanting to ask you. What is it like on launch day and launch week?
Oh my gosh. So I've never done drugs, but it's a real high. So it's like Christmas when you were probably like 5 or 6, you know? So
Oh, I
launch.
love that. That was fun. That was fun. Christmas when I was 5, 6.
Right? So I usually don't sleep when we launch books, which I'm trying to figure out like how to do that because we launch so many books now. So it's so exciting because what happens is you have this like all of these hurdles that you had to jump over to get to that place, right? And you've faced a lot of fears and you've written your story, and then here it comes, and the excitement and the anticipation, and it's like that's the payoff. Like, oh my gosh, I did it. It's like crossing the line of a marathon, you know, and you're just like, and you get to do it with others as well. And so the feeling of launch day and launch week, it's one of those moments where you just go, you know what? I never thought I'd do that. And I did. I never thought I could. And I did. I wasn't sure if I'd make it to the end. And I did. And you're just so incredibly proud of yourself, you know? I can tell you for like yourself, Maria, you're going to be like, holy shit, look at what I did. Look at the people I pulled together, brought together. Look at the journey we went on. And you also have this sense of like, oh my goodness, it's just the beginning. Like there's so much that happens afterwards. So it is incredibly fun. I mean, we have like little messenger groups and Facebook groups and stuff. And people are just like, this is one of the happiest days of my life. This is one of my proudest moments, you know, and it's so amazing to be there and to walk through it with them. I never get tired of it. It never gets old. I could do 1,000 launches and it will never be like, oh yeah, whatever. It's always exciting.
That's amazing. I can feel the energy and excitement just like coming right through you.
Yeah, it's a happy day. It's a happy time.
So they go ahead, the book's launched. Now what? Now what?
Well, one of the cool things that we do is we have this library for all of the authors that come into our books. And so I have trainings on like what to do now, how to make the most of the book. I just did one of these trainings for our book partners. So we talk about, do you want to be featured in your local media, regional, national? Do you want to be on podcasts? Do you want to collaborate with people? Here's how you can go about it. Do you want to create a circle of power partners? How can you utilize the people and create something amazing with the people that are in the same book with you? And I give all of these ways to just keep expanding, keep going. I do this for myself. Like, this isn't just something I teach. It's something I live. Like I just became an 18-time best-selling author, right? So that's
18 times.
And I did a one-woman show, right? So I took 7 months to write, produce, and act a 1-hour story of my life.
And I saw it, and it was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved when you were sitting up there on the table and you had your little cards and you were saying, your stories of when you went to Burma and, oh my God, Cairo and all these places, which I would have been petrified, by the way, to go to. So I applaud you for your bravery and your beautiful open heart to take all these people as the little babies and holding them and caring for them. And gosh, you're in such a place where we're fortunate, right? We have air and we have water, and I can walk right there to get the water. And oh, I mean,
it's true. And you know, this is the thing, is like we never stop, we never have to stop finding ways to show the world who we are, what we care about. And that's what I encourage the authors to do. You know, I give so many ways. We have bonus trainings all the time on how to do that, what it looks like. And it's because I know the people who come through our books, they're world changers. They're legacy leavers. They're here to do something that hasn't been done before in a way that only they can. And so we are constantly championing that. We're showing them how to keep going. And that's the thing. It never has to end.
how to keep going. I love that. It's all getting up every day and we keep going and we keep living. And we keep, I find that when we keep our commitments to ourselves, we trust ourselves. And when we trust ourselves, we have confidence. And we have confidence and we want to do more. And then, and I tell this story a lot in my company. I talk about my journey of getting healthier. And I stopped eating sugar on February 28th of 2022. And I still don't eat sugar. And so I did it for 30 days. It was a 31-day challenge in one of my groups. Well, not stop eating sugar. It was whatever you wanted. And I just happened to pick that. And for no particular reason, I'm not sure why I picked that, because it's not like I ate an enormous amount of sugar. It just, I felt like that was it. Something told me that was what I should do. And so I did it 31 days. And then I was like, oh, okay. Easter's coming. I'll go to Easter because, Easter eggs and the bunnies and all that stuff. And then Easter comes and then I'm like, okay, I'll go to Memorial Day because now I'm going to be at the beach. Every weekend I go to the beach and I'm working from the beach. I work down here on Fridays, which is lovely because I got to exercise with my bike this morning, but it all is part of the journey. So fast forward, I made it through that. And then I said my birthday, which was August 2nd, a couple weeks ago, no birthday cake. We just sang happy birthday to me with no cake. But now here we are. It's still going. So what happened was, because I was building confidence by keeping my commitment, then I said, okay, look, let's get some walks in. Feeling better. Let's start riding the bike again, because I was an avid bike rider for many, 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 many years. As a kid, that's all I did. Rode the bike. I disappeared. I'd go off on adventures. And then from there, I said, okay, let's start lifting weights. So I went back to the gym, and now 3 days a week, I lift weights. And then I also added in stop eating for 90% of the time. No, I don't already keep gluten-free. So no rice, corn, or potatoes. So 90% of the time so I cut back on that. So now I feel great. I'm losing weight little by little, nothing crazy. Every week, just a little bit more. I'm not weighing myself. I'm just getting new clothes, shopping in my closet from all the clothes that are in there for years that, didn't work. And it's built a lot of confidence. I feel like I can do so many more things. And I share that journey with all the time with, new people that come into my company, because I want them to understand we all start at zero. So I never did the multi-author book before. I actually did, but I was just a person in it, and it was a long time ago, and there was no collaboration around it. And actually, it was like twice the cost of what the investment is for this book, and actually 3 times if you're looking at it from the regular versus the VIP. And I think back because I don't know if I told you that, Adriana. I forgot all about the book. I forgot because because Adriana, there was no launch day.
What?
No, there
Oh,
wasn't a launch day. There was not a launch day. There was not. This was back in what year was it? I want to say maybe 13 or around there. And it's a table cover book, a table a coffee table, excuse me, a table cover, a coffee table book. I'm not perfect by any means, so I say sometimes the wrong things, but
I totally get it.
And I still have it, but it was more about, excuse me, business than the story. And so this book is so special to me because it really is personal. It's a personal journey. It's a personal story. And I think that, there's tons of business books. And I'll probably, once this one gets done and launched, and next year do a great real estate business book or something. But this is a little bit different because you tell your personal story. And that's really how people connect with you.
It is.
They want to know the authentic Adriana. They want to know the authentic Maria. They want to know who we are at the core. And when you can make that connection with people and show them your heart, because people just see us right on social media, or I'm actually the same person I am right now at home, at the office, exactly the same.
Right.
Which is good and bad.
Right. That's me too. I cannot.
Some days it's bad. Bad Maria is ill, and it's bad for everybody. So I'm not trying to hide her. She's hidden right now. She's gone away.
Oh my God.
I was one of those kids that, you would give me a present and I'd open it, and I'll never forget. My mother still tells a story. I got a slip from a girlfriend. I don't know. We wore slips. Remember, you had to wear like a slip.
I remember those days.
8 years old. I opened the box and I'm like, what is this?
Bought me a freaking slip.
My mother was mortified at the party, right? But anyway, sorry, sidetrack. Being authentic.
That's why I love you, Maria, because I'm the same way. Like I don't have a professional side. I always say like I never worked in corporate, so I never learned that, and it's just not my personality. And so, like I'm the same across the board. And like when you shared your story of like the sugar and the journey and the bikes and all that, like that gives me like a whole nother side to you. And that's what we're talking about. Like, I was raised by a total health nut, and like right now in my house, we're doing all fruits and vegetables for 15 days. And it's so hilarious, because, oh my God, you should see the things I'm making. Like it's the most colorful things ever, but it's the same thing. Like you said, it's just like, it leads to another thing and another thing. And it gives people a chance to have more in common with us than just like, I'm a very good professional. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I should hope so. I'm glad you know what you're doing, but who are you? And that's what we're really getting at.
Yeah. When people can see your heart and they learn about you, because we can all pretend like, oh, it's all easy and this and that. And no, it's like that iceberg. I always love that picture because you only see the top of it. You don't see the thing under there that like will took down the Titanic.
Oh yes, it's true. There's so much that we don't see, and I can tell you, every person that you look and you go, oh, they must have it all together. They're exactly like you. Just so you know, there's Legos on their floor. They've got dishes in the sink. They yelled at their husband this morning. Like they're exactly like you, and that's what stories allow us to see, is we actually have so much more in common than we thought.
We have so much more in common. And everybody has a unique gift. Everybody's unique. And everybody has a story to tell. That's the beauty of it, right? So I look at it, and at the end of the day, what I want to do is, so I focus on building our agent partners in our company and helping them grow and show them how to sell real estate and train and coach and leadership. Right? I'm in the leadership role now, not so much like in the day-to-day sales. The day-to-day sales is my system that I created, yes, and everybody follows the system. So that is my baby. It is the system, but I'm mentoring and growing other and growing other salespeople. And that is where I can make it the biggest impact, right? If I can mentor and grow 100, 200, however many, whatever it is, and I can do more of an impact because those people will follow the system to help and serve other families and those who want to grow their income by investing in real estate. So this is, my way to hopefully continue to inspire many, 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 because a book now is everywhere, right?
Yes.
It's everywhere, and it's ours, forever.
Yes.
And we did it together.
Yes.
And we did it together. So I'm excited.
I am too. I'm so glad that you said yes. And I mean, this is what leadership looks like, right? You were willing to step up. You were willing to lead and gather. And that's what I say. That's what we need right now. We need leaders. We need those who feel that call. They know who they are. You got to come to the front of the room. And that's who you're gathering. And I cannot wait to meet all of them.
You're going to love them. They're awesome. I'm so excited, Adriana. I'm blessed that we met, and we met through another organization. So that was meant to be. Yes. And I remember the day I found out about Interview Connections. I remember being actually in the store shopping at Christmas time. And I had my little headset on. I walk around with this headset all the time. You must think I'm nuts, but I'm walking around with the headset on in the store, and I'm talking to the girl. I'm on the phone. I have not FaceTime. I'm on Zoom with her.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm I'm shopping right now. Got to multitask. This is when it is. And so I had found out from them. And if I didn't do that, and I said, I'm too busy, I'm shopping, I can't do that, then we would never have met. And this never would have happened. So I believe in the universe and serendipity, and what's meant to be should be. But I'm blessed and grateful for you. Your journey is something else. And you're a wonderful woman and wonderful human, a great mom and wife and a beautiful person. So I'm blessed and grateful to have you part of my life. And I thank you today for sharing some time with us on Fearless Female Leaders or Untold Stories Revealed.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you. Make it a great one. Have a great weekend.